Have you ever witnessed a dog stop mid-step, not because he was scared, but because he sensed danger in a way no human ever could? That's what happened to Rebecca Lane, a 38-year-old former emergency nurse, during what should have been a normal Saturday at Rivergate Mall in Nashville. By her side walked Scout, her fiercely loyal Belgian Malinois, trained to detect seizures and PTSD symptoms. Rebecca had just one stop left before heading home, but Scout suddenly froze. His eyes locked on a stroller up ahead. His entire posture changed, and what happened next would leave every shopper speechless. Quick question: where are you watching from? Drop a comment below and hit that subscribe button to follow more real stories about incredible service dogs and the lives they save. Rebecca immediately noticed the shift in Scout's behavior. After 3 years together, she didn't need words. His body spoke volumes. The way his muscles tensed, the way he leaned slightly forward but didn't move. This wasn't curiosity. It was instinct. Something was wrong. Her eyes followed his line of sight and landed on a navy blue stroller parked near a bench. A young mother in yoga pants and a loose hoodie rummaged through shopping bags, oblivious. The baby inside was bundled beneath a soft, elephant-patterned blanket. Peaceful. Too peaceful. "Scout, heel," Rebecca whispered, gently tugging his vest. He didn't budge. Instead, he let out a low whine, barely audible but filled with tension. Then came the bark, loud, sharp. Heads turned, conversation stopped. Rebecca's face flushed with embarrassment. She knew how people saw service dogs: silent, obedient, invisible. Scout had never broken protocol in public, not once. "Excuse me, ma'am, your dog's scaring my baby," the mother said, her tone clipped with irritation. Rebecca opened her mouth to respond, but Scout barked again and again. Each bark more urgent, more focused, his body now angled toward the stroller like a laser-guided missile. Rebecca's training kicked in, her years in the ER, her instincts, her unshakable bond with Scout. This wasn't defiance. It was an alert. She didn't know what yet, but she knew one thing for certain. When Scout barked like that, it meant trouble. And no amount of side-eyes from strangers was going to make her ignore it. Mall security arrived within minutes. 2 officers in dark navy uniforms, one older man with a heavy walkie clipped to his shoulder, and a younger woman who looked barely out of college. "Ma'am, we've had complaints," the older officer began, his voice firm but not unkind. "Your dog is causing a disturbance. We're going to have to ask." Rebecca raised a hand, her voice calm but unwavering. "He's a medical alert dog. This isn't a behavioral issue. He's alerting." The young mother stood now, arms crossed over her chest. "He's barking at a baby. That's not medical. It's harassment," she snapped, her eyes darting to the gathering crowd. "You need to control your animal." But Scout wasn't barking wildly. He was focused, sharp. His 3-bark pattern, followed by a paw to the ground, was unmistakable. Rebecca had seen it before. Once, it warned her of an elderly vet in her support group slipping into diabetic shock. Another time, it saved a stranger from a seizure at a bus stop. She turned back to the officers. "I'm a former ER nurse. My dog is trained to detect neurological and chemical distress. If he's alerting like this, something's wrong. Please, just ask the mother to check her child." The tension was palpable. The crowd was thickening. Whispered doubts, glances, judgments. But through it all, Rebecca never looked away from Scout. He was locked in, and she trusted him more than anything in that mall. Reluctantly, the mother stepped toward the stroller, her confidence faltering under Rebecca's steady gaze and Scout's unwavering alert. "Fine," she huffed. "She's just napping, but I'll prove it." She peeled back the soft elephant blanket and froze. The shift in her face said everything. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Her hand flew to her mouth. "Madison," she whispered, then louder, "Madison!" The baby didn't move. Panic crashed over her. She unbuckled the straps with trembling fingers. "She's not waking up. Oh God, she's not waking up." The older officer immediately radioed for medical assistance. The younger one helped the mother lift the limp baby from the stroller. Rebecca stepped forward. "I'm a licensed nurse," she said, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Let me help." The mother nodded, sobbing. "Please, please." Rebecca laid the baby gently on the bench. Scout, now silent but laser-focused, sat at her heel. Rebecca's hands worked automatically, checking the airway, monitoring pulse. "She's breathing," she announced, "but it's shallow. Pulse is weak. Something's wrong neurologically." An older man pushed through the crowd. "I'm Dr. Halston, pediatrician. May I?" Rebecca nodded, relief flickering in her eyes. "We need to keep her airway clear and get oxygen. Fast." Within moments, mall paramedics arrived, wheeling a gurney and pediatric equipment. Dr. Halston glanced at Scout and said softly, "Your dog may have just saved this baby's life." As the paramedics stabilized baby Madison, Rebecca noticed something that made her heart sink. Scout had shifted again, his nose pointed directly at the diaper bag hanging from the stroller's handle, body tense, eyes fixed. He gave a subtle but unmistakable signal. 3 short sniffs, followed by a paw tap on the ground. That was his trained alert for a foreign substance. Rebecca moved closer, her voice calm but urgent. "Ma'am, Scout's alerting again. This time to your diaper bag. Would you mind if we checked it?" Amber, the mother, nodded without hesitation now. "Of course, anything to help." Security Officer Reynolds unzipped the side pouch, revealing a small, half-empty bottle of infant acetaminophen. But something didn't sit right. The safety seal had been broken. The label looked faded. "That's not ours," Amber said slowly, her face pale. "I don't recognize that brand. We use a different one at home. And Madison hasn't needed meds in weeks." The lead paramedic, Ramirez, exchanged glances with Dr. Halston. "Let's bag it for analysis," Ramirez said, slipping on gloves and carefully sealing the bottle in an evidence pouch. A second paramedic inspecting Madison's arm paused. "Hey, these marks on her elbow," she whispered to the doctor. "Tiny needle punctures." Fresh Dr. Halston's brows furrowed. "These aren't from routine vaccines, not even close." Silence fell. A collective realization swept over the group. This wasn't just a medical emergency, it could be intentional. And Scout had sensed it all, from a stroller across a crowded mall. The mall's central court had turned into a full-blown command center. Yellow tape appeared around the stroller. Officers began interviewing witnesses while paramedics rushed Madison to the ambulance, sirens cutting through the heavy silence that had blanketed the once busy space. Rebecca stood off to the side, Scout sitting calmly beside her, his alert now replaced with steady watchfulness. Detective Kara Lanning, a sharp-eyed woman in her early 50s with a calm authority, approached her notebook in hand. "You're the handler?" she asked. Rebecca nodded. "Scout's mine. He's trained in medical and scent alerts, PTSD, seizures, and foreign substances when necessary." "And you say he gave 2 separate alerts? One for the child and then the bag?" "Yes. His behavior was distinct in both cases," Rebecca replied. "He has specific alert patterns. What he did wasn't random. He's never false alarmed, not once in 3 years." Lanning scribbled notes, clearly impressed. "We're treating this as a potential poisoning. You and Scout may have prevented something far worse. Nearby, Amber stood trembling, being comforted by a mall staffer. Her eyes met Rebecca's, red, wide, remorseful. She mouthed the words, "Thank you." Rebecca gave a small nod, her hand resting on Scout's shoulder. The weight of judgment she'd felt earlier from the crowd, now replaced by quiet awe. She didn't need praise, she didn't need attention, but Scout. Scout needed to be believed, and today he was. By the time Rebecca and Scout stepped out into the golden haze of the late afternoon sun, the adrenaline had begun to wear off, replaced by an exhaustion that settled deep in her bones. Scout walked quietly beside her, no longer alert, but still vigilant in the way only service dogs could be. At the edge of the parking lot, she stopped, knelt down, and gently cupped his face in her hands. "You knew," she whispered, forehead resting against his. "Before any of us. You knew." Scout leaned into her, eyes soft, tail still. It was their quiet ritual, shared after every hard moment, every crisis. But today had been different. Today, his instincts hadn't just helped her. They had saved someone else's child. Her phone buzzed. A message from her counselor at the VA. "Saw the local news. Was that you and Scout at Rivergate? Proud of you. Call if you need to debrief." Rebecca let out a long breath. The media attention would come. Interviews, questions, maybe even judgment. But this time, it felt worth it. Because if even one person watched the footage and understood what a service dog truly is, not just a companion, but a trained protector of life, then maybe Scout's voice had finally been heard. And maybe, just maybe, people would stop underestimating what these dogs can do. This story reminds us that intuition, whether human or animal, should never be dismissed. In a world that often prioritizes appearances and rules over gut instinct, Scout's unwavering focus reminds us of the power of trust, especially in those who cannot speak but still know. For older adults, it's a poignant reminder that wisdom often comes in quiet, persistent forms, and that advocating for what you believe, despite judgment or discomfort, can truly save lives. It also highlights the extraordinary bond between humans and animals, and how sometimes the smallest signs can reveal the deepest truths if we're willing to listen.